Inside Out.
This
Inside
meeting
Out.
is being recorded.
Oh yeah, there you have the information that it's being
Yeah,
recorded. Sorry.
and I'm Rafael Figueroa. I'm system engineer. I'm 45 years old and live in Argentina. Um, like
45. You don't look like 45.
what?
You don't look like 45. You look really younger.
Yeah. Many people say me that are younger.
You look
Como
younger.
que,
Yeah, you definitely look younger.
yeah. Well, practice the English around to maybe 1 year, and search the workshop for Instagram and look and say, wow, I got it. I want to try to this. I want to try, and another teacher say me, well, try to
With the lowest
participate
level.
the workshop in the last class, and now well, I'm here and I love the movies, and well, I talkative for that.
Yes, yeah. I could tell because I'm in charge of uploading of the meetings on YouTube, and I was watching the HD group meeting in which you were part of, and yes, you are talkative. But that's good. That's good. That's positive that you talk a lot, Rafael. And Diego told me you were from Venezuela, was it? Rafael?
I'm from Venezuela, but I live in Argentina.
Yeah. We I got that. Very well. Luna, hello, welcome.
Hello.
How
How's
are
everyone?
you? We're good. We're good. We were waiting for you.
Yes, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm here.
It's good. It's good that you're here. Welcome. This is your first workshop, actually. Yes, my name is Matias Chavez, as you can see on the screen. I'm in charge of the 4K group, but today we are all together because Diego had a little business to take care of. So we were just having a little introduction of ourselves. We got Julie, a psychologist student. Where are you from, Julie? You were from the South, right?
I'm from the South, but I live in Buenos Aires.
All right,
But
all right.
I'm connecting from Rio Negro.
All right, you're down south. All right. Right, nice. Where do you live, Rafael? Rafa, where do you live at the moment?
In Caballito, in Cava.
In Caballito. Look at that. All right. All right. We got
horses. Living horses, no?
Little horses. Yeah. Little horses. Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. Lucas. Lucas, would you like to introduce yourself? We got Julie, we got Rafa. Lucas? A little introduction of yourself, Lucas. Your name, we know your name, but...
Oh, sorry, no, listen. I'm Lucas, I'm 32 old. 32 old. I live in Villa del Parque.
Okay.
Cava.
Cava too, right.
And I see the movie, it's for me, it's awesome. Much blood in the sea. Much blood, it's much battle.
Well, yeah, we will talk about the movie in a minute. We will talk about the movie in a minute. It is a really violent, gory movie. Yes, I agree with you. And well, welcome. It's good to have you here, yes. Lucas from
Sorry,
Villa
for
del
the next movie, I am in my house. I'm here at work. It's complication today.
I can see you're at work. Well, it's okay.
Yes.
It's okay. Well, it's nice. It's nice that you can still want to be part of this. Thank you very much. Luna, what about you?
You're a genius.
I know that. Thank you. Luna.
Well, my name is Luna, and I'm from Olivos. I'm here in Olivos, in Argentina.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm studying sociology at the UBA University.
Sociology. Oh, I had difficulties with sociology when I was trying to become a psychologist too, Julian. But I failed. I dropped and I became an English teacher because I couldn't, deal with that. Anyway, good to have you here, Luna. This is your first workshop. We're going to go right into the movie because Luis is not there. I suppose he's having some connection problems. So let's head on straight into the 300 movie. A classic movie by now because I mean it's been a while since it's been released. It's been 16 years. So yeah, it's been a while. This is Sparta, a phrase that has become so popular that even football teams have taken it as have appropriated it. As Boca Juniors, for example, they has a very large flag which says "Esto es Boca." Well, it's basically from this line from the movie 300. Right. So let's go into the first question. Oh, wait a second. No, not yet. Well, the first question had to do with values, with Spartan values. What are those values? Which are those Spartan values? And do you consider there was some kind of discrimination in the story? I got a little video for you, as you could see, in order to kind of remind you of a very important scene in the movie. Watch.
Like old Spartans, he was inspected. If he'd been small or puny, or sickly or misshapen, he would have been discarded. From the time he could stand, he was baptized in the fire of combat. Taught never to retreat, never to surrender. Taught that death on the battlefield in service to Sparta was the greatest glory he could achieve in his life.
All right. Well, the scene carries on. You know it. I mean, I'm not going to play it all because it's a bit long. But which are Spartan values, basically? Which were the things that were really important to them from the very first moment that they are children, Julie?
Yes, they valued strength and the ability. They were kind of ableist.
Ableist, nice.
Yes, they inspected the babies and whatever flaw they might have, they just throw them off a cliff. So they value like strength and the ability to grow and become warriors.
That's true. They were looking for warriors, like you said, not regular citizens, warriors. They were famed to be a warring nation, or nation. It was a nation. Sparta was a nation by itself. Rafa?
Yeah, I think that the babies must be pure and strong because they were warriors, like Vikings.
Like Vikings.
They had to learn the art of fighting for the war.
Good point. Like Vikings. Yeah, they were trained. They were prepared for war from the very beginning. Actually, this agogi, this process that they had to go through, was going to basically decide if they were fit enough for battle or for being a Spartan or not. And if they weren't, the consequence was quite simple and straightforward. They would die. They would die in the wild. Luna?
No, yes, I agree. And for me, it was kind of like I don't know how to say it in English, like eugenesia, maybe like eugenics, something like that.
Eugenesia.
Eugenesia, okay.
Eugenics.
Okay.
Oh, is it eugenics? Oh, okay. Might be it. Yeah.
Yes, like something like that. Like they discard the ones that were considered to be inferiors or not worthy for being part of the nation. Like only the strong ones will last, something like that.
Well, yes. That's quite true. I mean, the only people that were fit for being warriors or soldiers or Spartans were the ones that were physically and probably mentally fit for it, because being left out in the wild as a child, as a little boy, I mean, you have to be psychologically strong to put up with that. I mean, any of us probably would just sit there and cry until mommy comes and picks us up. But this did not happen in Sparta. Their mothers were, I mean, the babies were taken, or babies, the children were taken from their mothers for this process. And when the babies were born, as we could see at the beginning of the video, they were inspected. Like you said, if they were, in the video, he says, Adelius says, if they were puny, if they were weak, they were discarded, like Luna said before. Right. Very well. So, I mean, I believe the answer is quite obvious, but still, I want you to tell me, was there any discrimination in this society?
There certainly was.
Come
I
again?
mean, we at the middle of the film when I can't remember the name of the character, but he was sort of deformed, and he says that his parents left Sparta to protect him, and they didn't want to include him in the fight because he wasn't, you know, this Adonis-like man.
That's true. Ephialtes. We will talk about Ephialtes deeper later on, but he's the one that you got here on the right, that he's trying to kneel. Well, he is kind of kneeling in front of Leonidas, but he cannot raise his shield higher than his shoulder, you know, because he had some physical impediment. History says Ephialtes was not like that. This is one of the modifications that the comic made for the story. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, for example, the babies, those who were not fit for the battle, were discarded for the society.
Yeah. That's what Luna says. They were discarded from society. They were left out. They became pariahs. Like the same. I mean, what happened to Ephialtes was that he became an outcast, but not because he did anything wrong. I mean, he didn't do anything. He was just born like that, unfortunately. And that is pure discrimination. I mean, come on.
And I think that the movie kind of pictures the outcast like the villains, right? Like they are from part of the Persians crew or group, like the persons that are with different body parts, or that they are not like perfect as the Spartans warriors.
It's just true. I mean, the depiction that we got from the Persian soldiers, it's like monster-like people. Why? Well, probably because they were different. I mean, we can probably assure that there was no big, fat, monster-like guy with razors in his arms chopping people's heads off. Because I mean, that's really that doesn't sound realistic. But we are watching the story being told by Delios, and Delios was a Spartan. People say that history is made is told according to, well, the person that actually tells it. So This is a Spartan telling the story. So yeah, I get your point, and I agree with you, Luna. Lucas, you there? I mean, he is in the video call, but I cannot see him anymore. And Luis did not rejoin. Okay, he said he had some business to take care of. His dog is having a little health issue. But anyway, Luis, I mean, and Lucas, I don't know. Lucas, you're there? Lucas? Well, we carry on. All right.
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Lucas, we are with the next question, which was quite straightforward. Black or white? Who are the heroes and who are the villains in the story?
Moment, please.
All right. Well, you take care of that. Guys, Julie, Luna, Rafa, who are the heroes? Who are the villains?
Well, for me, the heroes are the Spartans. The villains is the person, no? Persons.
Persians.
Persians.
The Persians.
The Persians, because they try to take in the earth, the lands for the many people, many citizens, and many citizens, many peoples. They try to no sé la palabra. Try to quit the lands and make a slave for construct the new culture or permanent culture the Persians.
That is true. I mean, the story that we are shown shows us this Xerxes king as a tyrant, as a dictator, probably a god-like king who is apparently trying to destroy the Greek culture and to invade the Western lands, in this case, Europe or part of Europe. And yes, I mean, again, the story we are being told by Delios says that they are the villains, and that Spartans are the heroes. Luna.
Yeah.
Well, yes, I agree that the heroes are the Spartans in this movie, right? It's not like historical accuracy. Yes, accurate. And also that, well, who's the one who's telling the story? Delios. I think that Delios needed to tell the story like this in order to convince the Greeks to go to the battle, right?
Yes, at the beginning we get. I mean, the movie starts with Delios speaking and talking to. It's not very clear at the beginning, but then by the end we finally see that he's talking to an army and telling them, "Hey, Leonidas with the brave 300 and blah blah blah. The bad man Xerxes from the east came to dominate us, to invade us, to kill us, blah 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 blah." Yes, Delios is the one that is actually showing this picture of good guys, bad guys. Julie.
Yeah, well, I obviously agree that within the story, the heroes are portrayed as the Spartans and the villains, the Persians, because they're trying to take the land. But again, like you said, stories written by the victors. So they obviously are going to frame themselves as the heroes, I suppose.
Definitely. I mean, they're not going to say Spartans were, macho men who were discriminatory towards women and towards children who had some difference, of physical difference. Now they were going to say, hey, we prepared them for battle. Hey, our women were strong and they were in charge of everything when we left home, which was true. But anyway, I mean, we get an idealized vision, a perfect idealistic vision or representation of the Spartan way of life, their army, their values, their culture, the fighting culture, their warring culture.
Macho romanticization of ancient Greek.
Yeah.
Because
Agree.
it's like the romanticized version of everything, this very male fantasy that is like going to battle and being strong. I don't know. I see it that way.
When I was
like
preparing
the
this, yeah, go on.
No, that I thought about that, like the Spartans, like this maleness, and we are strong and our abs, and we fight and get the bad guy, and then the bad guys are like, well, the color of the skin, and they are like kind of a transgender expressions, like well, it's that part was quite controversial for me.
It was, I mean, because as you were saying, girls, we see that everything that's not traditionally aesthetical for Western culture was shown as the evil side, the dark side. I mean, like you said, we got transgender, we got, I mean, as regards that, something the movie does not go deep into at all, actually, is that the Greek culture was quite, they were quite prone to having homosexual relationships because they believed it was even better to have a male partner than a female partner, which speaks even more of the way that they considered women, you know, for everything. Actually, they didn't consider women for anything. I mean, Greek society in general. But like you were saying, everything that looked different was Persian.
No,
Bad.
I think to the, for example, the Spartans is a culture did not have the same gods. For example, in the fact that they come to try to take away their lands, other people take their lands, and be under another god or king did not very life for
them.
This
Yes,
is a conflict.
it's a cultural clash from all perspectives. I mean, they had different gods, like you said. That's important. Different language, that's relevant. But basically, I mean, the movie is trying to tell us that Greeks, Spartans in this case, were fighting for freedom. That Persians did not have freedom because they were enslaved by this godlike Circe, who's 8 feet tall or whatever, which is quite funny. You know, Rodrigo Santoro is actually, I mean, the actor portraying Circe is quite short, actually. They had to use special effects to make him look a giant. As I was going to say, when I was preparing the presentation, I was thinking about that, how what Luna said before, how these Spartan, how these representation of men, of male, well, not male values, but the ideal for many men of being strong, having a beautiful body and going to war and defying, being less against many, it has become part of many sport groups. Like I said before at the beginning, Boca Juniors, all right. But then if you look at American football, for instance, there are many teams who are called Spartans. How many gyms, how many sports gyms are called Spartans or Spartano or Sparta or something like that? They, you know, they worship this picture of this hero who the Spartans are. Lucas, you're back.
Yes, I'm back. Sorry, much people here. Much people, much music.
Much, much music. Yeah, I
Much,
understand.
much,
Well,
very much, much.
very well. Thank you, Lucas, for still being there. I suppose.
Sorry for the next
Um,
for the next movie in my house. Sorry.
I trust you will. I trust you will. Thank you, Lucas. Let's pass on to our next question. We got only 4 minutes left for this first part of the meeting, so I'm going to try to go faster. How accurate do you consider Delio's version to be, and how are
What?
Persians described? We were talking about this before, and here we got some of the strange Persians, strange-looking Persians,
Teacher,
like this.
sorry. It's slow, much slow when you talk. Slow.
You want me to go slower?
Yes, you talk much speed.
Ah, okay. You want me to go slower? All right. Sorry. I'll go slower then. The story is told by Delios. So, how accurate is this vision by Mr. Delios? We basically talked about this. Do you know anything about the historical differences the movie actually has with real history? Some of them. Kind of. Like which, Luna? What is different?
I know that in the real battle, they were not only just 300 Spartans, that they were like a lot in the real battle. And that there were not only free men, but there were also slaves from the Spartans, but that is not told in the story.
Because it's not cool.
Yes, because they are like fighting for freedom. We won't tell the people that we also have slaves, right? That won't be cool.
That wouldn't be, yeah. What was the name of the slaves, for the Greek slaves? I don't remember.
No, I don't know.
But well, it was something very common. It was totally accepted that you had slaves in Greece. Basically, you have men, well, male children, women, you have dogs, pets, and then you have slaves. Can you get Rafa?
The slave for the Spartans, not is ilotas. I think.
It's something. It must be something like that. I'm not 100% sure about that term, but it was something like that. Yeah, I do not remember at the moment. But like Luna said, they did have slaves. That's true. Freedom, yeah, for you, for the warriors, but not for everyone. Yeah, Julie?
Well, I was going to say the same as Luna, that they were not 300, they were more. And the Persian army wasn't this bigger thing. It was also a small army and a weaker army as well, because they weren't as well fed as the Greeks. The Greece was a very big empire at that time. And that's...
Well, yes and no. I mean, Greece had Greece did not exist, by the way. I mean, they were speaking Greek, but they were referring to it as the Hellenistic culture. But Athens was one thing, and then you have Sparta, and then you have Crete, and then you have Corinthus, and they were all little nations that eventually 1,000 years later they got together, or 2,000 years later, as Italy. You know, they were all little nations who eventually united. But it is true, the Persian army was not that large. I mean, they were not 1 million like Delios said. Historians say they were roughly 100,000. All right, it is a large army, yes. Against 7,000, oh yes, it's still a really big difference.